Marie.
Hi, Kat.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again. I'm so excited for our card pull today, which is going to be about July
Woo!
2026.
All right. So
Things
you were
are
just
heating up.
mentioning, so can you tell me a little bit like you've been feeling that like June, July, August?
Our big months this year, yes. And I think it feels like the crescendo. The astrology is extremely busy, and there's like this build up, and it's moving faster and faster and faster, and then it'll start to settle in August, and then we'll have a fall where there's integration, and then I think it'll be even more settled in by 2027. So this is our big moment.
Love it. All right.
Mhm.
Well, let's have a look at what we need to know for this month. Ooh, the Father of Cups.
Oh, the black swan. I love that. It's perfect with what we just talked about, right? The black swan is
Yeah.
something that never happens in the stock market. And when it happens, it's like it's crazy. It's not supposed to happen. And that's
What
what
is
we
the
have.
black swan in the stock market?
A black swan in the stock
What is
market
it?
is something that never happens, right? So, for example, when the housing market crash, and there's a book about that, like how somebody hedged against that day because whatever happened was never supposed to happen, right? So, a black swan is an event that is like you never see a black swan in nature, right? Most of them are white. So,
Mm-hmm.
think about it that
Hmm.
way. And I think that's what our
Okay.
summer is like. That's what July is like. It's a black swan moment where you're probably not going to find it again in your lifetime.
Wow. But it can be positive too,
It's
right?
very
Or is it
positive. Yeah, yeah,
okay?
yeah,
Yeah. Well, interesting. It's really funny too because it's so the fathers are yeah, fathers of cups are people who are very mature in their, feeling their emotions, letting them feel their emotions but not being, consumed by them either. And also being I think very good communicators because cups also have to do with communication. And what I
beautiful.
like about this, especially because since you were just mentioning, the craziness of these next 3 months, is
Yeah,
that there's a lot of rain, there's a lot of chaos. It's almost like you can't see through the fog, but
yeah,
it's almost like a swan is perfect for that,
yeah,
like because it's just gliding on the water, it's not minding the rain, it's already wet. It's
exactly,
it's not gonna get all
exactly.
upset by the rain
Yeah,
and everything like that.
yeah.
So, and
And
it
that
kind of
brought
like the rain goes off its feathers.
Yeah, that's right. And,
Sorry.
and when you were talking about communication, all of a sudden my brain turned to Gemini, which is the sign that we were, just in. And Gemini is a very communicative sign. And
Yeah.
then that brought me to the thought that, okay, so in the Palladian star constellation, there's a star called Alcyon, which is the brightest star. Alcyon is considered to be like the feminine energy, the third eye of the cosmos. And Mars and Alcyon are now at zero of Gemini, both of them. So they're aspecting each other. And so I love what you were saying. So the Gemini is the communication, and the third eye, so it's communicating about our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's also, we just were recently talking about like, the fact that things can be hard right now and that in a way it's also important to let those emotions go through you.
Mm-hmm.
Not to block them and not to, but also not to attach yourself to them.
Right.
Feel things. If you're
Yeah.
feeling angry, you're feeling sad, like let yourself feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but also then don't like, fuel the story, let's say.
Yeah,
And so I think that's what
exactly.
this one is talking. That's
Exactly.
a lot. Um, all right. Well, maybe I think then the question could be how could we become more like the father of
Mm-hmm.
cups?
Now in July,
Yeah.
it's about wisdom and letting things, run off your feathers, I suppose.
Mhm.
Mm.
Interesting. So we got the Three of Pentacles
Mm.
and the daughter. Oh, and the Daughter of Pentacles. So two pentacles.
Wow.
Um, well,
It looks like
pent
she's about to climb that mountain.
Yeah, it's true. And it's interesting too with the like it's almost like a mirror image because you got
It
the
is.
rainbow colors down here
Yeah,
and then the rainbow.
exactly.
Um I think what I'm getting from these cards is how to help us be is collab because this one's about collaboration and kind of finding your role in the collaboration.
Hmm.
And so I see it as also maybe like remembering to reach out to others and be part of something. It
Hmm.
not to feel like you have to do it alone.
Mm.
I also think there's a lot of team building that you can do within, um, like kind of becoming the solid foundation for yourself.
Mm. I
So
love
that
that.
then you could be this daughter because the daughters are the youngest, and so they still are very kind of like curious and free and they're not jaded, let's say.
Right, right.
So
They're ready to take on a new journey, and
yeah.
with the strength coming from within, knowing that, okay, this is a very special moment. This is maybe something that I've never experienced before, but I do have the strength within to go out with
Mhm.
curiosity and learning and exploration and be okay with it.
Yeah, I love that. And oh my God, I just thought of something.
Yeah.
The rain brings the rainbow,
Oh, right.
you
Yes, of
know? So
course.
it's like the rain also like brings that beautiful rainbow
Hmm.
from that.
Yeah. And when you hold them up like that, you have the number three in the middle, and it's the
Two
uh,
court cards.
yeah, and you have the stars. They're connected in three. So
Yeah.
and three is a very magical and powerful number, right? It's the holy three, the divine three. So it's beautiful when you hold it up like that. How it's like
Hmm.
the wisdom and the newness, and knowing that your ability to climb this new mountain.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And I love how the father and the little deer are looking at each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a communication there of like almost how like both these parts like can build that sound foundation.
Yeah.
Um, because a lot of people think pentacles have to do with, finances and careers, which they can be.
Yeah.
But more than that is about anything that's meaningful and that takes time. And that's why it is about finances and careers, because usually you don't, unless you win the
Yeah.
lottery, it
Yeah.
takes time to build either your experience in your career or either, let's say, like your finances.
Sure.
But it can also be about a lot of things. It can be about, let's say, like even your spirituality, or it can be about, like it could even be about relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's meaningful, but that not a quick fix. And so I think that there's something really beautiful about that too, is like to remember that this July is about something that because both of this the daughter is it's almost like the first little part. Then she's
Yeah.
gonna grow
It's the start of
into
something new,
yeah,
exactly. And also, as you were saying, abundance is not just money. Abundance is so many different things.
yeah.
And realizing that, yes, we're climbing this mountain, we're going to have a very different month, and it's going to be very transformational. But then at the beginning of the day, we're going to be like a doe who's taking its first steps, who's going to be a little wobbly and,
Yeah.
but still with the
Yeah.
intention of growing and learning and becoming tremendously abundant
Hmm.
in this new world that we're creating.
And yeah, and I had yeah, that made me think of something that I just forgot. Okay.
That's
Yeah, I
okay.
lost it.
It'll come
Thank
back,
you.
I think. If it's
Yeah,
meant to be here, it'll come back. But I think,
exactly.
and I also when the both of them were looking at each other, it felt like focus, like
Yeah.
tremendous focus and keeping your eye on the ball, like you say, and moving forward, continually kind of moving forward with that internal fortitude and knowledge that you're heading out on a new journey in your life.
And it came back to me. I love that. And I also think what I'm getting that is so like the focus, when you said focus, it came back
Mm,
because to me it's also about remembering to be intentional with what we plant.
yeah,
Because these things will grow and become, huge and strong later, like this mountain. It will
yeah,
be, but it starts small. So, but it really does mean that that you have a lot of power, but you also need to choose wisely. What are you planting? I think
exactly.
that's an important thing for this July.
And that brings something else within me too, is the idea of manifesting. When you said planting the seed, it's like manifesting something. And I've had this really strong sense lately that, we used to manifest in a way where like we did an hour meditation a day and we focused on our manifestation. And that's really beautiful and amazing. But now we're actually manifesting in the moment to moment. We're
Mm,
constantly creating things. We're constantly getting the feedback loop where it's like, okay, oh, I thought about that. Here it is. I thought about that.
mhm.
Here it is. And so being very intentional and very focused with our energy because we're now constantly walking around as manifester machines. And so we need to
Yeah.
be mindful of what it is we're focusing on because it's
Yeah.
going to manifest.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. That's super. And in a way too, to go back to her is like it's almost like as we become, we're learning to manifest and we're learning to have fun in our creation. And so it's yeah, it's like we're at the beginning stage where we're starting to see the feedback loop and be like, oh my,
Mhm. Oh, that was
it
fast.
works.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, as you say, it's about being very like, careful too about
Yeah.
like, okay, well, because things can come quick now.
Absolutely. And it's like it's we're given little wheels to try out
Yeah.
before we get bigger wheels because
Yeah.
it's almost as if the universe knows that we're beginners, so we can't drive the big cars yet. We have to kind of be careful. And so we'll see things manifested in small ways. And then
Hmm.
as we grow and our ability to be humble and loving, then things will become bigger and bigger.
Yeah. With the more responsibility.
Exactly.
Well, shall we end this with just a message of love from our guides for the month of July?
Sounds perfect.
All right. Ooh, oh my gosh, funny. We got another daughter
Mm.
and we got the Seven of Cups.
Hmm. It's that beautiful card where you can turn it upside down and it
Yeah,
has a completely different. I love that.
I love this card too.
Yeah.
And that card, what this card is often about is about uh a lot of actually it can be a lot of things, but I think here it's more about like dreams and it kind of goes back to I think this and what are you planting?
Hmm.
Because this one the Seven of Cups is often about like, having many options and many kind of maybe desires and ideas and to maybe let yourself dream big, you know.
Hmm.
Um let
And
yourself
thinking about things completely differently, right? So
yeah.
dreaming, but then being like, hey, what if it looked like this instead of like this? Adjusting our dreams or adjusting our thoughts about the future,
Yeah.
accordingly. Yeah.
I love that. I love that too, about just being maybe open to also open to how your dreams might be different,
Yeah.
like be open to how maybe other options are even going to come to you and be open, kind of like when you were saying about we're starting to learn about the manifestation and we're starting to
Hmm.
see things happen quicker,
Hmm.
more quickly. And so then it's like being open to what is coming from that.
Hmm. For
This cute
sure. Yeah.
little let's see, oh, they're talking to each other too.
Yeah, they are.
And it's funny because it's like it's like it's not the same bird, but it's almost like a
Hmm.
same bird. Um, I feel like these two daughters have something to say too, just again about that freshness and the curiosity and the ability to think outside of the box
Hmm.
and be curious and fresh and have that childlike attitude towards life. And yeah.
Absolutely. And I love how there's like little light bulbs around the owl, like it's getting
Mhm.
different kinds of ideas with different colors on it, which
Yeah.
then makes me realize that the doe has like this rainbow, which is also kind of like a stream of consciousness or a stream of
Mhm.
thoughts, up by the head also. So just being very I feel like the message is that be open to receiving all these beautiful gifts from the cosmos,
Yeah.
in thoughts and ideas and emotions. Like you're just gonna start to receive so much in this month.
And even when you mentioned that too, is it's funny, I'm looking outside my window. I'm sure there's a rainbow right now because there's like we
Mm.
just had a thunderstorm and now there's like a lot of sun.
Mm-hmm.
But recently, I actually, the other day, we also had a huge rainbow in our backyard, and it was so beautiful. And it was a little bit like your idea right now about like learning to manifest and learning to find these little things. And I just remember feeling this like awe towards this rainbow.
Oh, right.
And almost like, wow, who made this up? It's so crazy and
Mm-hmm.
fun and
Yeah.
joyful. And it was like, and it's completely free. And it
Exactly.
almost seemed fake and made up because
Yeah.
it's so surreal sometimes. And
Mm.
then here with these little stars, I felt that way similarly on like a kind of night bike ride I had and just looking up at the stars and the clouds and just they're changing all the time, but there's just these like little presents kind of, scattered around if we're willing and open to looking for
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
So,
The
yeah.
magic in every day, right, is what you just described.
Yeah.
Really think that's beautiful to really open our eyes and say, wow, who decided to create something this beautiful? Like
And
only
I
a true intelligence can have that ability,
yeah.
right?
And also like how I don't know there's like so many different like recently I've just been realizing that we're all co-creating. And so like I'm co-creating, I'm living in this city that I find beautiful and
Mm.
that was somebody else's creation and now I'm using their imagination and their creation and I'm living
Mm.
in their what they made, even
Right.
50 years ago and here I
Yeah.
am like kind of playing in this too.
Yeah.
Um and sometimes it's not always easy. It's not like I catch myself looking up at the sky and being in awe all the time, but I do think that when we are able to do that and just like
Yeah.
see, and the more and more when it comes naturally to me to feel that gratitude, I'm so happy because it is a practice.
Mhm.
It starts with the practice
It
sometimes.
starts with the practice and also the recognition that you had that you're kind of living in another person's or a lot of people's imagination, right?
Totally.
Somebody thought up that road, somebody thought up some houses, they planted a
Yeah.
tree, they built a park, and you
Yeah.
get to live in their dream, their
And their
imagination.
dream. Yeah. Their creation, their
Quite
manifestation.
cool. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And how we all like I don't know, I even pushed it further, but because
Hmm.
like like let's say because I've been reading this book and it's just about how we're all who knows, maybe somebody had like this idea of I don't know, like this crazy even like physical things like the mountains or like oh like I could see this kind of landscape
Let's
and then like
stretch it, you know?
and stretch out the mountain and like,
Yeah.
like here, I'm gonna like put some
Yeah.
water here and like I don't
Yeah.
know. And all of a sudden I was like, wow, like can you imagine if I'm living in somebody else's creation and then like maybe when I don't know, we get to
Yeah.
these places like it's we can go far.
Yeah,
And
but
it can get really woo-woo.
it gets really woo-woo. But at the same time, we do live in somebody else's imagination because the houses that you and I are
It's
sitting
true.
in, somebody
Totally.
actually thought them up and
Oh,
built them, you know?
and as you said, the park, and like, for example, me, I was driving by the canal and I was just thinking
Yeah.
about all the people who built it and who thought about it and these beautiful places that were kind of abandoned and now are getting kind of repopulated and re-loving them in a new way. And it's so crazy to imagine these people who thought about this and now I'm, you know, living in a yard with somebody who planted a tree that's about 100 years old. Somebody else planted
Yeah,
that tree.
exactly. So,
So.
with that perspective that we just spoke about, how can we, in this now moment, create something like that for other people in the future?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be build a house or a city or a canal, but it can be planting a seed, a thought, an emotion, and it could be writing a book, it could be writing poetry, a song, whatever it is, our impact on the world is so big. If whether we're aware of it or not, just by being here, it's like ripples on the water, and we
Mhm.
affect generations down the line.
And I think that goes back to these two little daughters, which is
Yeah,
we don't sometimes, even realize the impact of what we will have. We plant this seed and then it's going to become something even sometimes bigger or something different than what we actually even thought or intended. It becomes like kind of its own thing.
exactly.
And yeah,
And
it's like
how
that
beautiful
expression.
is that? What a beautiful gift, right? to be
Yeah.
given as an
Yeah.
individual. Like, look, you can affect this world. You can
Yeah.
dream big.
And it's like that expression of plant a tree that somebody else will be able to sit under its shade.
Hmm.
And to remember that, like, the things that we do will have an impact. And so it's, you do it for yourself, but you also are doing it without even knowing that somebody else is going to
Yeah.
enjoy it, probably.
Mm. Giving me goosebumps. I love that.
Well, have a wonderful July
Yes. And
and good
we'll
luck
be
to
back.
everybody
Hmm.
with these wonderful cards, actually, and
Yeah.
planting and becoming manifestors and, you know,
Hmm.
these two little guys.
Yeah. The beginning of something great.
Yeah.
Okay. Until next time,
See you soon.
take care. Bye.